This is the best I could do for a Chinese outfit, folks. I am making videos for belated Valentine's Day and a belated Chinese New Year, which is this one, and probably belated St. Patrick's Day, although I plan to upload these as soon as possible. Today is St. Patrick's Day, so anyway, what is my movie today for what is my Chinese New Year tribute, I suppose? I'd like to talk about Raise the Red Lantern. That was the very first all Chinese language subtitled in English movie I ever saw about Chinese culture, feudal Chinese culture, pre-revolution Chinese culture. And that is where I discovered my favorite actress of all time, not just favorite Chinese actress, but favorite actress, period. Gong Li. This woman is incredible. I haven't seen all of is it Zhang Yimou? I'll get his name right. The director, I've come to admire a lot of his work, especially his older work. I wasn't all that fond of The Great Wall, but that's for another day. After Raise the Red Lantern, I went on to see To Live, and another movie that I don't think I can pronounce very well, but it was about a Chinese woman married to a man who beats on her, and he works in textile. He runs a textile mill, and he employs, well, he makes her work, and he employs a relative of his, and they have an affair, the two, the abused wife and the relative of the abusive husband. But anyway, I'm dressed here in red and gold, and this is the best I could do. There's no authenticity in this costume, but this is, like I said, this is part of my shtick. This is part of what I do when I review movies. If I absolutely can't dress up because I'm sick or something, I usually do just voiceover reviews. But anyway, Raise the Red Lantern is from 1991, and it stars Gong Li as a young girl who has been forced to drop out of school, university. She's only 19 years old, and her father has recently passed. He was a tea merchant or a tea farmer, and he was doing pretty well, able to send her to school and all, but when he passed, her stepmother, the girl's name, Gong Li's character's name is Song Lian. Songlin. And the best translation I could find for this was tribute to an Otis, ode to an Otis. I'm sorry, tribute to a lotus, the flower. Ode to a lotus, the flower. So basically her name is all about that beautiful flower. A beautiful flower that represents Chinese beauty and culture. Song Lian is very sad that her father has passed, and to make her grief, even worse, her stepmother, who does not care about her, excuse me, wants her to get married. In other words, it would mean fewer mouths in the household to feed. She's a girl. It's 1920s China, and girl children are not really regarded in the same light as boys. So, at the very beginning, you see a close-up of Song Lian, and her mother is talking off screen and just saying, you need to get married, you need to get married, you need to get married. And Song Lian just says, all right, mother, shut up. I'll go ahead and get married. And she says she'll just go ahead and marry a rich man. And the stepmom says, well, if you marry a rich man, you'll only be a concubine. In other words, a live-in whore. And Song Lian is just so sad and defeated that she says, who gives a shit? Isn't that a woman's fate here in China? Isn't that the berries? Isn't that the one option that I have that's at least I'll have a nice house to live in, I'll have enough food to eat, I'll be out of your fucking hair. I first saw this movie in 2003, I believe, and I really I've loved it forever since, and it just speaks to the role of women in society in the past, and what horrible, lonely lives they led. They were bored. It's like they weren't even, it was almost like the master, and we call him the master. Song Lian is concubine number 3. The master has his first wife who bore him a son, a very handsome young son, who is, I guess, college aged, just like Song Lian. And then wife number 2, I can't remember her name, and I pronounced it wrong in the IMDb movie review I did. She only had a daughter. And then there's Meishan, wife number 3, concubine number 2, whatever you want to say. She bore a son, which makes her more favored than even the second. So it's basically which gender kid you have makes you, whether, it secures your place in the household, or it might get you kicked out of the house into the snow to freeze to death. In spite of the overall tone being very gloomy and tragic, it's beautiful to behold. The movie, it's beautiful, gorgeous. Meishan, wife number 3, is an ex-opera singer, and her singing is absolutely sublime to listen to. All the period detail in the 1920s, their dresses, their, ceremonial rituals, whatever you want to call it, having tea together. Song Lian has a housemaid named Yar, I think, but it's in English it looks like Yaner. And the master seems to like to play around with Yar on the side while Song Lian supposedly isn't looking. And whenever Song Lian goes over to Meishan's house to play mahjong, the master's like, why can't she just stay at home? Or what are people supposed to do? just sit there and just watch the clock tick by until Master comes home to screw you. It's just sad. It's a really interesting piece to look at if you care about women and the things that they've gone through, just the sadness and the boredom and the suicidal ideations and the even sneaking out to cheat on their husband. The husband with 4 wives. He can go as he pleases, he can do as he pleases, he can fondle the maids behind the wives' backs, he can do whatever he wants. But if you're caught wandering around, getting a little on the side, man, you are in hot water. And my favorite characters were Meishan and Song Lian, the 3rd and the 4th wife. And of course there was the villain, and I don't want to reveal that. I don't want to reveal a whole lot about this. I think I already have revealed too much. But the thing is, it's a great movie. It was the first Zhang Yimou, I think that's his name. The first movie of his that I saw, and the first movie of Gong Li that I ever saw. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. The color red is very prominent in that movie. The lanterns are very important characters in themselves. They're like non-sentient characters in the movie. It's a passive life, where you're sitting there, but it's also extremely dangerous. One wrong move, one wrong anything, and you're in trouble. You could be hanged. There's even a point where Song Lian is so desperate to gain status, and she knows that she has an enemy who's out to get her, that she feigns a pregnancy just because she's desperate to remain safe in that household. And I'll spoil this one. The whole plan backfires. So yeah, I will put spoilers up for this one. It is definitely a 10 out of 10 movie, and I never get sick of watching it. I watch it at least once or twice a year. My reviews are going to be a little shorter, since I'm doing sort of a blitzkrieg or a mini review storm today, because I don't know, I feel like I'm behind, and I'd really like to get into doing these 3-4 times a week. I'm sorry, at least once a week, excuse me. 3 or 4 times a week. Who am I kidding? I can barely do them once a month. Anyway, that's the review for Raise the Red Lantern 1991, and you should definitely watch it if you're into cultural movies, if you're into Chinese movies. I just think it's a beautiful film.